What's up, Big 12 Nation? It is Tuesday night in America. That can mean only one thing. It is time, once again, for your favorite YouTube show about your favorite conference, one that Brett Yormark says is unquestionably a top 3 conference in the nation. That's right. It's all about the Big 12. Here with me, your host, Clint Foster, for the Biggest 12. Thank you so much for making us a part of your Tuesday night, man. We'd love to be here with you, whether you're joining me on Twitter or whether you're joining me on YouTube or whether you're watching from the comfort of your couch. You got the YouTube up on the big old TV. That's the way to do it, honestly. Shout out Don Denton. I know you love to do that. Listen, there's one thing that I need for you to do. Okay, I need you to do this. I need you to like and subscribe to at Big 12 BOCFB. We are talking all Big 12 Media Days today. All right, we got day 1 of Big 12 Media Days kicking off in Las Vegas, of all places. It's not down the road in Arlington for me anymore. It's in Las Vegas. It's in Sin City. So much to get into. What is the future of the Big 12? Who is Mike Gundy voting for? And how do you spell Cincinnati? All this and more we're going to cover tonight. But come on, if we're going to grow this show, if we're going to make this a thing, you got to subscribe. You got to hop on over to YouTube. You got to hit that subscribe button. It's going to help me out a lot, and it's going to help me make a better show for you in the future. So go do it. Do it. Be a part of it. Be a part of the movement, okay? And follow me on Twitter at Clint_Foster55 and at Clint Foster Comedy on YouTube. Got a couple new videos, of course, up right now for the summer. I am in the process of editing another one right now. It is Big East related. If that's the sort of thing that floats your boat, I think that in particular, West Virginia, TCU, and Cincinnati fans will get a kick out of this one. But, you're going to be the first to see it when it gets posted if you go and subscribe to at Clint Foster Comedy. Also going to be joined by a very fun guest, Melissa Triebwasser. All of you who are TCU Frogs know her. You love her. She's Coach Melissa. She's going to be joining us a little bit later. She is boots on the ground in Vegas today, so she's going to be able to give us a lot of her in-person takeaways from the first ever Big 12 Media Days in Vegas. Also, as long as you're following things, subscribing to things, all of that stuff. I talked about it last week on the show. We have relaunched our Voice of College Football Network Twitter account. Here it is, the Voice of College Football on X, all right, Elon Musk's X. All of your Voice of College Football stuff, all of the stuff that you need for your fix, you're going to find it right here. There's Mark. He's pointing at you. He's telling you, subscribe, follow, do all of the things you know you want to do it. Listen, if you love what we do here at the Voice of College Football, then you're going to, it's a no-brainer, okay? You've got to follow the account, rankings, ratings, discussions, and analysis. It's the core of who we are at the Voice of College Football. Join us now because, there is no off season, baby. This thing does not stop, okay? We all have a problem here, and that problem is 365, 24/7, and we love it. We love each other for that, okay? We are supporting each other through our addiction. Okay, yes, what's up? Hey, everybody, welcome to the chat. Also, very exciting stuff. I have the new college football machine. I have officially acquired it. It is plugged in to my TV as I speak. I have the streaming equipment. Baby, we're going to do this thing big starting next week. I'm going to show you where you're going to go on this journey with me, this college football 25 journey. I'm going to show you all the things that I can show you as quickly as I can show you. The game has been pre-ordered. All right. As soon as that sucker is loaded on my console, we're going to make this thing happen. It's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, I'm going to be playing with the Frogs. Obviously. Okay. But here's what I'd love to know for you. Oh, Thomas wants to know PS5 or Xbox. It's Xbox. Okay. I think I went ahead and sprung for a Series X because I want to be able to play my old Xbox games. I'm a big Witcher 3 guy, big Red Dead Redemption 2 guy, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I got to be able to play those games again, right? So, I'm a man. I'm 33. I'm getting an Xbox, okay? I'm not getting a PS5. Come on. But yeah, so the Xbox is hooked up. Here's what I need to know from you. Whenever I play that first game with the Frogs and I stream it for you and we all get to experience together, who do you want me to play against? Okay, so put that in the chat, put that in the comments, put that on the Twitter comments. Who would you like to see me play as the Frogs? I am fully anticipating a little bit of a learning curve in this game. So ideally, it's not somebody. Ideally, I'm not playing somebody that if I start losing to them, it's going to just make me really angry and I'm going to want to rage quit because I can't do that. We're going on this journey together. Okay, so let's manage expectations, but let's figure out somebody good for me to play. I am, yes, okay, Thomas. Thank you for going ahead and chiming in. I'd love to see all the suggestions. Also, uh, I'm gonna play a dynasty as the frogs, right? You got to, but you got to rebuild a team, right? That's part of the fun as well. Let's take somebody who's an absolute basement dweller, rebuild them. Several teams I'm kicking around for my potential rebuild. Okay, so I'd love to hear your thoughts as well, and I'll probably end up putting a poll on Twitter for this. So I've narrowed it down to 6. Okay, I'm not being as extra as what's his name, Bordeaux, that guy who's been on all of our Twitter feeds with his where's home and all of this nonsense. But listen, I'm looking at Rice, UTEP, ECU, UAB, Hawaii, and Army. Okay, those are my top 6 rebuild candidates to go along with TCU in my dynasty mode. Uh, what are your thoughts? Who do you want to see me play as? You're go on this journey with me. Okay, let's do this thing. Timothy, of course, yes, you want to see me play West Virginia. I wouldn't be opposed to West Virginia being the first opponent. I mean, we got plenty of Mountaineers who tune into the show here, so I'm all about that. All right, very good. So there's all of our business out of the way. Remember to comment on that stuff. Give me your feedback, because I want you to be a part of this. Okay, so let's talk Big 12 Media Days. Media Days are fun, and I think they're very fun. I've been lucky enough to attend a couple of them. They're a very fun event to be at. It's also fun for us sitting at home because we see all of the craziness coming across our Twitter feeds, right? And eventually onto our news outlets of choice. Uh, you know, definitely some funny things happening at Big 12 Media Days so far this year. We're going to talk about some of the biggest stories and things that stood out to me. Of course, Brett Yormark was first on the stage. What did Brett have to say? Well, he's gassing us up. He's saying all the stuff you would expect for Brett Yormark to say, talking about how the Big 12 is a top brand, right? We're moving forward into the future with the Big 12 as a top 3 conference. I don't think that's under dispute. I think you got to be brain dead or from Dallas or both to think anything other than that. Yes, the Big 12 is obviously one of the top 3 conferences. He's saying my intention is to make it number 1, right? You get into this thing to be number 1, to be the very best, like no one ever was, right? To borrow a phrase from Pokemon. And that's big, that's Premier Works' intention, right? And you love to see it. He talked about, looking into making Vegas a bigger part of the Big 12 brand, partnering with the Vegas Bowl. Eventually, he really sees a lot of, dollars and opportunity to be mined in Vegas. I'm not opposed to it at all. I certainly think that a Vegas Bowl tie-in is more attractive than, whatever they're calling the bowl in Arizona now, guaranteed rate, or perhaps the Liberty Bowl. I mean, what connection does Big 12 have to Memphis? Not really very much of one, right? So I'd love to see that. Love to see the Vegas Bowl be involved. He also talked about that he is open to sponsors on jerseys. As you know, this is something that murders my very soul. This seems to be the direction in which we are moving, that WNBA, MLS direction, where we've got, why else can you explain how every single jersey is so utterly plain and devoid of character anymore? I can only assume it's because we're gearing up for sponsorship patches. Um, I don't love it. More money for teams, sure, fine, whatever. But at this point, I mean, who's hurting for money, right? Let's maintain some integrity of the sport. Let's maintain some of the non-corporate joy that we get out of this thing. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe we get enough of the being advertised at without looking at it on our jerseys. Okay, but I'm also not somebody who watches a whole lot of MLS or WNBA, right? Or even NBA for that matter. I get excited whenever the playoffs come around, but come on, right? That's something that he's talking about as well. Other things that Brett Yormark brought up, just continuing to be aggressive, as the conference continues to expand, not only expand, as far as teams are concerned, but expand just its brand and its reach. Said a lot of good things on here. He's been all over your Twitter feed. I am almost certain of it. Yeah, mostly talking about Vegas, and why shouldn't he? They're in Allegiant Stadium there. solidify ourselves as one of the top 3 conferences in America. Even before last year's realignment, I said we got to be in Vegas and be a little bit more west. This is the entertainment capital of the world, he goes on to say. It definitely makes sense insofar as, we were expanding our Western footprint. We got the 4 corner schools. I don't think expanding west is the end game. I mean, you look at all of the potential new candidates we have joining the conference; those are all to the east, making the Big 12 a national brand, which I know is another thing that Brett Romark said. Thomas doesn't love going west. Thomas, tell me why. Why exactly don't you love going west? There are people out there, right? There's people everywhere. Eyeballs on screens. That's what you're looking for. And that's what Brett Yormark is committed to doing. So, hey, there you go. I just reports the news. I don't makes the news. Okay. I'm going to hold off on talking about the frogs until Melissa Triebwasser joins us, because a lot of exciting stuff, or at least exciting for me, and those of us who are purple inclined, so we'll put a pin in that. But here's another fun excitement that we got, fun announcements rather, that we got. Arizona dropping a new helmet, a new alternate helmet that is just so utterly and beautifully Big 12. Here it is, baby. Look at this thing. So they've got the script cats on the side and that beautiful red. You know what? Friend of the show, Ralph Ams, said this is easily the best alternate Arizona helmet I've ever seen. Usually they come out with something really crappy. This sucker's beautiful, right? Just imagine this. I mean, they usually wear white helmets, but imagine this with their navy jersey, their white pants. I mean, that's a very clean, classy look. Is it virtually the same as Kansas State's alternate helmet with the script cats? Yes, but you get a generic mascot. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Okay, we can't all be creative enough to be the Horned Frogs. Yeah, but this is a great helmet. It's a beautiful helmet. I love the alternating red and blue stripes, which is what they have on their normal helmet. We're really just changing a decal here, but it's a very fun alternate. I like it a lot, and as does Jackson. Yes, very good looking helmet. And Thomas says, "Do the script frogs." Yeah, people have been clamoring for the script frogs on a helmet forever. That everybody loves this exact thing that you see here on my hat. The I think every other team sport has a script frog alternate uniform. The basketball team does it because it's a throwback. Baseball team does it as a throwback. Put this sucker on a white TCU helmet, you're in business. But I will say, there's a lot to be said about this look right here, right? The look that Gary Patterson was so superstitious about, that every time we didn't wear it, something bad would happen. Okay, this is a great decal. This is a great logo, and I kind of long for the days that it was our primary logo before we just had the Arch TCU as our primary logo. Anyway, but yeah, anytime you put script on a helmet, it's great. Script Cowboys is sharp AF. You darn right. Okay, you can't go wrong. I really can't. No, not a single script helmet comes to mind right now that doesn't look great and that doesn't do it on the highest level. And yeah, Dish Fish, you're right. Bring back that flying T, man. Let me tell you what. It's not something that the problem isn't on TCU's end, right? The problem is the trademark holder, the copyright holder, the creator of the logo, him holding up things. All I can tell you is if TCU ever walks out, and here's the thing, if they do it, I hope they keep it a secret, because I can just envision in my mind, right? TCU's like hosting Texas Tech for a throwback night at Amon Carter Stadium, and the team runs out of the tunnel in flying T throwback uniforms. Pandemonium, man! So much excitement, you can't even quantify it. It would be amazing. Everybody at TCU loves the flying T. Everybody loves the flying T. I mean, I'm sure there's some people who don't, but who really care about their opinion anyway. It would be a boon. It'd be a huge deal. Throwback TCU helmets. Very good. I mean, hey, and here's pretty accurate saying they did a take on a throwback helmet against Baylor last year, where you had like a black version of a 1960s throwback logo, which I believe I've shown on the show before. I don't know if I still have the image in the holster. I probably have since deleted it, and I don't want to go find it right now. Yeah, but and that was something that a lot of people got excited about. I prefer like a true throwback to like an altered throwback. Not that I didn't like the Baylor helmets. But yeah, it's you can't go wrong with throwbacks, right? There's a reason why I have so much home field merchandise, because throwbacks are the best, man. Everybody loves a throwback look. Come on with it. Okay, so I'm talking entirely too much about TCU helmets. Leave it to me to take an Arizona helmet discussion and make it entirely TCU focused. Something else great that happened. Um, Nobody knows how to spell Cincinnati, or uh, at least nobody in Las Vegas at the Big 12. Look at this. University of Cincinnati. Okay, they've got two T's here up on the nameplate. Hope you can see it on your end. It literally says Cincinnati on the jersey beneath the nameplate, people. It's not like, listen, Viva La Cats was going nuts about this. This is not, it's not difficult, right? Drew Barrymore sings a song about it in a movie that does not come to mind. Cincinnati, Cincinnati. It's not hard. Come on, people. All right. Last year we had Fort Worth on a sign. Now we've got Cincinnati. Okay. This is just, it's too good. Okay. We just, it's the hard hitting journalism. This is why you come to the biggest 12. Okay. Send the University of Cincinnati on your official Big 12, what do you even call this? Locker display. Now, supposedly, here's where the plot thickens. Supposedly, the Big 12 had nothing to do with this. Okay. They're like, hey, this wasn't our fault. And they blamed EA Sports. Okay. Hey, it's all EA Sports' fault. Y'all hate EA games, right? Get mad at them. Okay. It was EA Sports' fault, which begs the question, is Cincinnati going to be misspelled in College Football 25? I kind of hope so. I kind of hope so, just because it really plays into the whole idea, the whole very mean joke of just like nobody even remembers that Cincinnati is here. And who are you again? And like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. But Travis Kelce School, okay, nice. Yeah, I at this rate, I kind of hope that the flub and don't update it, right? Just leave it in there and just act like nobody notices. Yeah, like let's learn to spell, people. Let's learn to spell. Okay, I can't put this off any longer. We got to talk about those folks who are riding with pride up in Stillwater. Mike Gundy, he was the star of Big 12 Media Days today, at least as far as I'm concerned. Some killer quotes from the former mullet wearing coach up at Oklahoma State. So everyone wanted to know about Ollie Gordon, right? I mean, that's been one of the big stories this offseason. Ollie Gordon getting the DUI, right? Getting arrested for a DUI. He blows a .1 on his breathalyzer. He's driving drunk. Can't do that. Not a good thing to do, right? That's how you kill people. That's how you go to jail for involuntary manslaughter, okay? With intoxicated manslaughter. It's not good, okay? And so everyone's needing Gundy's take on this. Hey, is Ollie Gordon going to miss time? Is he going to lose any game time? What are your thoughts on this whole situation? The long and short of it is, Gundy says, no, he's not going to miss any game time. He needs to be held accountable for his actions. If anything, he needs to carry the ball 50 times, right? That's how we're going to get around this. He should carry the ball 50 times. That's more apt punishment. I can maybe get behind that thought process. But what really had everybody a buzz here is what Mike Gundy had to say about the crime itself. All right, so I'm going to open up this. Hopefully, I can make sure that the sound comes through on this video. I'm just let you listen to what Mike Gundy had to say, and then we'll talk about it. Okay? Then we'll unpack this. All right. Let's talk about it.
So I looked it up on my phone. What would be the legal limit? Like in Oklahoma is 0.08, and Ollie was 0.1. So I looked it up, and it was based on body weight. Not to get into the legal side of it, but I thought really 2 or 3 beers or 4. I'm not justifying what Ollie did. I'm telling you what decision I made. Well, I thought I've probably done that 1,000 times in my life. And it's just fine. And so I got lucky. People get lucky. Ollie made a decision that he wish he could have done better. But when I talked to Ollie, I told him, I said, "You're lucky you got out light because you make a lot of money to play football." So I looked it up on
Probably done that 1,000 times to knock back 4 beers and drive drunk. Yeah, why not? You know, I feel like I understand what he was trying to say, but the execution was fumbled, let's say. You know, he's trying to say like, hey, you know, we all make mistakes, we've all drunk too much, but you gotta make a better decision, you know. But it didn't really come across that way. It more came across as like, yeah, everybody's driving drunk in Stillwater. Come on. It's a thing that happened. You know, he did it, and well, whatever. So anyway, that's been making the rounds right on the Twitter sphere. Well, hey, you know, I've done that plenty of times. Um, eh, okay, so so that was funny. I got a kick out of that. Mike Gundy also was approached about a question regarding Deion Sanders, and it's a very funny way in which this question, yeah, kind of equals based. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but don't drive drunk, people. Come on, like this, get a ride, okay? If you want to have 4 beers, it's fine. But like, you know, you're an adult, and I think Ollie Gordon's of age. But come on, don't endanger. I know that Stillwater's a sleepy town. Don't endanger people on the road. Okay, there's too many people who have families, their lives have been ruined because they've been one side or the other of this. Right? Don't be stupid. But yes, so he also said. A reporter was like, you know, hey, I gotta ask you. I know this is an uncomfortable question, but I got to ask, right? What are your thoughts on Deion Sanders? And Gundy, to his credit, is like, oh, man, like the way you came at me with that question, I thought you were going to ask me who I was going to vote for, right? Which nobody in America is confused. Even if you've never heard of Oklahoma State, you know who Mike Gundy is going to vote for, okay? This is the guy who launched a firestorm by being photographed in a One America News shirt. Okay, bro, we know, and it's okay. We know who you're voting for. That's okay. And then you know a reporter says, "Oh well, who are you going to vote for?" And he says, I don't know. I don't know who the candidates are." Okay. You know, it's hey, I think I think he's just having fun, right? I think he's just having fun with it, but it's funny. Um, Also, and Gunny again with the political references. I just feel so justified. By the way, I feel like my Oklahoma State character in my videos is so utterly justified by moments like this. Um, Gunny was being talked to about. He was talking about Kyle Whittingham, which this is another thing. Big story from the day is Utah and Oklahoma State both have each other circled on the schedule. Maybe that rivalry that I joked about in my rivalry draft is actually going to be a real thing because they seem very excited about playing each other. Gundy's being asked about Kyle Whittingham, and his age gets brought up. Kyle Whittingham, 64 years old. Okay, I had no idea. Time freaking flies, man. I remember when this dude just got hired by Utah, which was shockingly long ago now, apparently. But you know, so there's a conversation about 60. Oh man, he told me he was 62. He must have forgot how old he was. Maybe he was in that debate the other night. uh, but yeah, Kyle Whittingham, 64 years old, and you know he was wearing that on his sleeve at Big 12 Media Days, talking about, well, you know, I'm not going to be doing this forever, but I've been fortunate and had a lot of longevity in the sport because I've recruited well and recruited kids who have bought into the program and have allowed me to do the things that I want to do. You know, he jested, listen, when we're playing Miami in whatever year it is, 2030, or he's like, I'm probably not going to still be coaching, right? I'll probably be retired by then. But he is the oldest coach in the Big 12 right now. And that is I mean, 64. That's an advanced age to still be coaching, right? Not to be leading the free world. I mean, that's fine. But that's an advanced age to be coaching. But Whittingham's still at the top of his craft. And, you know, he talked about how he's looking forward to playing Oklahoma State. He really has admired what Gundy's been able to do up there. You know, so we've got something brewing here, something brewing between these two teams. That is going to be a fun game to watch. I mean, whether or not they end up being the two teams in Arlington, which they look like they're a lot of people's betting favorites. I feel very strongly that Oklahoma State is going to be in Arlington. I don't know about, I mean, we'll see with Utah. I mean, they have a favorable schedule, as we have said. They've got a lot of talent if they can keep it healthy. Cam Rising, in particular, with his, he's like as old as I am, for God's sake. But they are a lot of people's odds on favorites. So we'll see what happens. Okay, here we are. Now, our reporter on the scene, all right, our gal on the street, our boots on the ground. Here she is, folks. I teased her earlier. Melissa Trebois. Thank you so much for hopping on with me here from Vegas. How are you?
I am doing great. We're Vegas. It's media days. It couldn't be better. No complaints. Other than the Wi-Fi here is really terrible, so I apologize in advance if it kicks out on me.
Well, you're coming through loud and clear now, and that's fantastic. And I see Allegiant Stadium behind you. How has this venue compared, by the way, to? I mean, you've done it at AT&T Stadium several times. How is this Vegas rendition compared to other media days that you've been to?
I think it's definitely a different feel. AT&T Stadium, there's so much familiarity. Like, we all know where we're going and what we're doing. And so this is my first time in Allegiant. And for a lot of people, it's their first time in Vegas, period, which is kind of crazy. So, but there is definitely an energy just being in Las Vegas. There's an importance, there's a weightiness to it. And I think it was a really smart choice by Brett Yormark. It was not a choice they made without having to, because AT&T was booked, but just to kind of bring this new look conference without a flagship university to a place that's so well known for entertainment and athletics and everything. And Yormark said on multiple occasions that this is an important place for his conference to be represented, and they want to do more things in Vegas in the future for sure.
Yeah, he's talking about potential time with the Vegas Bowl in the future. Love to see that. We just had a question about Brett Yormark in the chat here. Connor Johnson, thanks, man. Did Brett Yormark get into talking about the Pacific time zone at all?
Oh, absolutely. He 100%, as far as expansion and different things like that, he didn't name out teams. He didn't say we're 100% looking to expand, but he did say that getting further out west, pushing west is important for this conference going forward. And they have every intention, he said, putting their tent pole events out west. Now, whether that means he's looking to expand into teams, he didn't necessarily say. Of course, he can't really talk about specifics in that. But one thing he did emphasize time and time again is the Big 12 is open for business. That can mean expansion, that can mean sponsorships, that can mean private equity and PSLs. But this conference is not going to sit on its laurels at 16 teams and just be happy. He's consistently looking at more ways to get more eyeballs. Talked about different time slots this team could play. So I could definitely see westward expansion and potentially, Oregon State, Washington State getting phone calls at some point down the line. Would not surprise me one bit when you look at the way that Brett Yormark is like just kind of exploring all of the options for this conference.
That is big news because, the ACC is what's been on everybody's lips. And it kind of makes you wonder what final number do we have in mind here? How big are we talking about getting? But yeah, westward expansion, that is exciting to the Beavs and the Cougs, who have been theoretically left for dead at this point. Well, so Melissa, we've talked so far about Gundy and his drinking habits and voting habits and some other things. Was there anything specific that stood out to you at Media Days? Any quotes, any interviews, or anything that you can share?
Well, I think the biggest thing is Brett Yormark continues to be an innovator and be creative when it comes to positioning the Big 12 to not just be an also ran, but to be a part of the future of college football. He said that this is inarguably almost the deepest, most balanced conference in the country. He talked about how this is one of the top 3 conferences in the country. And then he also said that he wakes up every day thinking about how to make the Big 12 the best conference in the country. I don't think he is trying to intonate that it's going to take over the SEC or the Big 10. But he was very loud and clear with the fact that this conference is not going to sit and get left behind. They're not going to get ACC'd, so to speak, but they're looking for ways to stay relevant in the future of college football. And he is not going to rest on his laurels and just expect that it happens, which is what kind of was the death of the Pac-12 and maybe the death of the ACC. But he's going to look for ways to make sure that the Big 12 is in the conversation going forward. Westward expansion is a part of that. International expansion is a part of that. Looking for creative revenue sources is a part of that. So that was big to me, just the confidence that he spoke with about what this new look league looks like, and how the Big 12 has never been more relevant than it is today, which again is a big statement when you talk about taking out schools like Texas and Oklahoma. I also thought that it was the biggest thing, from a TCU perspective is health and the establishing of Josh Hoover as QB1 at TCU without question. Both Sonny Dykes and Hoover himself said, I am the starting quarterback. So I think those were 2 big things. Gundy is always going to Gundy. I think that we could go on to long tangents about what he had to say and who he is. But at the end of the day, I don't think it comes as surprises to anybody that's followed college football or Oklahoma State football that he would kind of speak out of turn like that. And then I think we also got a peek into, Kyle Whittingham and his future with having now a kind of a coach in waiting established. He talked openly about that, what that might look like for his team. But ultimately, the first half of Big 12 Media Days reminded you that this is a conference that has a lot of really competitive teams, has a lot of really exceptional coaches, and does have some star power. We'll see that unfold tomorrow when Deion Sanders and his children and Travis Hunter and that whole circus rolls into town, what that actually looks like.
Deion and his children, yes. Well,
Yeah.
you mentioned Josh Hoover. Okay, everybody knows we are both frogs here, so it's time. You can't escape it anymore, people. We're going to talk TCU football now. All right. I have been a Josh Hoover believer. I am the vacuum is plugged in, right? I am sitting on top of the dam, however you want to say it. Sonny Dykes said he thinks Josh Hoover could be an elite quarterback in this league. Melissa, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you think that we're drinking too much purple Kool-Aid? Are people right to be looking at us side-eyed when we talk about Josh Hoover as the future? What do you think?
I think he can be, but can be and will he be are two different questions. And I don't know how much of that has to do with Josh Hoover and how much of that has to do with who's around Josh Hoover. And that includes the offensive line and the running game. That being said, I was talking with a TCU administrator just kind of on the side. And one of the things we were kind of referencing the recruitment of a certain quarterback who just flipped to a certain rival university. And he said, not everybody can be a Josh Hoover who shows up and just wants to get better every day. And that, it was kind of a throwaway comment in the middle of another conversation, but it really stuck with me. This kid has done, the injury shocked him. He told me he had never missed a practice in his entire football career before he had to miss the entirety of spring at TCU. And so he has worked really hard to prepare himself to learn how to take better care of himself, to learn how to recover better so that he doesn't go through this situation again within what he can control, right? He has the leadership. He has the intangibles. He has the it factor. He was very inconsistent. He talked about that. Sonny Dykes talked about that. And he also wasn't always put in a position to be as successful as capable of being. So one of the things I asked him is, what does that look like for you in 2024? And he said it's just about matter of him and Kendall Briles sitting down, figuring out what his strengths are, where he can be best utilized, where he can be the most efficient, and designing the offense to help him be able to do so week in and week out. And so the plan seems to be in place. I think Sonny Dykes has had a lot more imprint on this offense than he did a season ago. And I mean, frankly, Sonny Dykes has had his imprint on a lot more things. He learned a lot after the disaster that was 2023. So I absolutely think that Josh Hoover can be a top quarterback in this league, but he's got a long way to go to prove that. And it's going to start with being on the field every week and then being consistent how he performs. He'll get a good early season rollout to do so. Stanford will be a challenge, but not the hardest, P4 team he's going to have to play. And then he gets the kind of the soft landing zone of LIU. UCF is going to be sneaky good. And I think that UCF SMU kind of 2-week stretch will tell us if Josh Hoover is ready to be one of the top quarterbacks in the country or in the Big 12 conference, or if he still is kind of in the growing pains of being a guy who has not started a full season yet.
Well, hey, and you mentioned that the thing that I love about him the most is his intangibles, the leadership qualities. I mean, the things I've heard from inside the program, it's screaming Andy Dalton, Max Duggan, those legendary TCU guys that we love because every single person on their teams were willing to die for those guys, right?
Yeah.
They were really good quality people, really good leaders. And that's what gets me excited. And you mentioned it. Sonny Dykes was talking about that they kind of took for granted in 2023 how much legwork they as a coaching staff would be having to do in building leadership qualities in kids because they walked into a situation with Max Duggan and Trevius Hodges-Tomlinson. Is like, oh, well, okay, plug and play. All the leaders are here and we don't have to do very much, right?
Yeah. Well, I asked him about that too. And it was like, I asked it like at the press conference in front of everybody and realized what a stupid question that was to ask. Because trying to say 2022, 2023, 2024 back to back in front of people while you're echoing oh my God, I felt so stupid. But he did talk specifically about that. Like I said, hey, you inherited great leadership in 2022. You lost those guys and then nobody stepped and led 2023. And he said one of the things they've had to do is because of how much turnover there are on rosters now due to the transfer portal is you used to rely on your players to develop the next generation of leaders. You saw this, when you were part of the program, that the older guys teach the young guys how to lead when they're gone. Well, that doesn't happen anymore because the older guys just leave if they're not, one way or the other, they're out the door. So he talked about how they've taken a much more hands-on approach in developing leadership and how they've been much more actively engaged in teaching guys how to be leaders. They're having them enroll in leadership courses. They're bringing in speakers, and they are working specifically to identify and promote their leaders within the program. I think that's going to be a big difference in how this team performs as well.
Love it, love it, love it. And I want to talk about one more TCU thing that literally made my heart skip a beat. I was so excited. We're going to see a 4-man front, baby. Let's go. Okay, we're going to be rushing the
Absolutely.
quarterback. What did Sonny Dykes have to say about Andy Avalos' defense and creating havoc?
Well, there was a lot of positive talk about Andy Avalos and what he's brought to this program, just both from a scheme perspective and just an energy perspective, a recruiting perspective. Sonny Dykes talked about how hard it is to recruit 3 really good players that can fill gaps for a 3-man front. And it doesn't mean it's easier to recruit guys for a 4-man, but you have a lot more flexibility. You can rotate in a lot more guys. And so he seems really excited about how the system is going to go forward. And I can tell you from talking to Caleb Fox and talking to Andy Avalos and talking to Jack Besh even, guys are excited to play in this defense, and guys are struggling to compete against this defense in practice. And that's a really good sign. We've always, I think you've probably done this too, is in the fall, we always sit there and go, oh, man, the offense looks really, really good. Does that mean the offense is really, really good, or the defense is really, really bad? Or, oh man, the defense is absolutely killing the offense. Is the defense really, really good, or is the offense really, really bad? Well, we're seeing that they kind of flip back and forth all throughout the spring. From a day-to-day basis, one was kind of overtaking the other, which hopefully means you have a really balance on both sides of the ball. But Avalos he's brought the energy, he's brought the accountability, he's brought the toughness. But it's kind of a tough love kind of a situation where you can tell how much the players respect him, and you can tell how much Sonny realizes that this was a change that needed to be made. I mean, nobody doesn't like Joe Gillespie, the person, including Sonny Dykes. But I think that he's seen just how important it is to have the right coaches on your staff, the guys that can get things done and hold guys accountable. And I think to a man in that football program, they would say that this is the right decision. Now, is that going to be, are we going to be all saying this 9 months from now? I mean, maybe not, right? But we'll see the proof on the field. But so far in the early returns, Andy Avalos is doing everything right, and guys are really responding. We've heard the word havoc thrown around a lot today. And that, as a TCU fan, is really, really exciting to hear, because we have not been able to pressure the passer, it feels like, in 5 years.
We may finally have the Marcel Brooks breakout year, right?
Oh, this is it,
I
man.
mean,
Shad Banks and Marcel Brooks are going to bring it.
Come on. All right, so a couple more things to talk about for Media Days. First of all, we had kind of a mustache off. I'm going to put this up on the screen. Alan Bowman rocking a new mustache, and somebody from Texas Tech who, frankly, I don't even know who it is. There's Alan Bowman doing his best Pistol Pete impression, and this fine gentleman.
That's outstanding.
That is a majestic mustache.
Well, between the mustaches and Mike
Gundy's.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I really like Alan Bowman. I had a chance to talk to him at the Fiesta Bowl, and just could not be more impressed with him as a person. I hope he fails if he ever plays TCU, of course.
Sure.
But I'm going to give it to Bowman just because he's 150 years old, and I need to be kind to my elders. And I do kind of like his has a little more style to it. Like, listen, the hairbrush mustache that the other player was rocking, the Texas Tech player. Listen, having a mustache in Lubbock ain't no thing. Like, I'm not that impressed with you. It's a loose tumbleweed, but I will say that there were some good hairstyles. There were some good mustaches. Gundy's bringing back the mullet, which is appropriate. Jack Besh, the TCU guys all got fitted out by Jonathan Song, former TCU.
I saw that, yes.
Which is super, super cool. So everybody, it is really fun to see all these guys looking good, feeling themselves, strutting around. I'm gonna say everybody did a good job, but I'm always gonna pick Alan Bowman because I like the kid a lot.
And we had an Oklahoma State player in some wolf slippers too.
I missed.
Some wolf slippers. Also, I wanted to bring attention to this, and I don't know if you caught this. Brett McMurphy shared it. We had an in memoriam, looks like literally a funeral program for the frosted strawberry Pop-Tarts.
That is outstanding. Wow. I did not get a chance to see that. And that honestly would have made my entire day.
Yeah, the whole note of remembrance, take a moment to celebrate the life of
God bless it.
mascot.
One of the best parts about Big 12 Media Days is getting to interact with all the bowl people, right? Because they're so funny. They all have their own unique personalities akin to their bowl. And so, yes, representing the Pop-Tart is a beautiful thing. I'm glad we could take a moment to recognize its importance in this new world of college football.
There's literally never been, move over Rose Bowl, move over Sugar Bowl. There's never been a more prestigious and exciting bowl tie-in, I mean,
Well,
in the history of college
well,
football.
Jamie and I were complaining because now that we're the Totino's Big 12 media days, like we didn't get a single pizza roll. There's not a pizza roll to be found in this stadium, and yet I mean, you can see it in the background now. Like if you look behind me, no, where's the
Yeah.
pizza rolls, bro? And I'm arguing for a
Mm.
Totino's Pizza Roll Big 12 bowl with an edible mascot as well. If you guys follow the Frogs Insider Instagram or you follow Jamie Plunkin's Instagram, please go and watch. Speaking of mascots, please go and watch Jamie's interview with Super Frog. It's some super hard hitting journalism. I'm really proud of him. He asked a tough question. Super Frog was a little glib in his responses, but we'll give him a moment. But it's definitely worth a watch. So go check out the Frogs Today Instagram and watch Jamie's hard hitting Super Frog interview. I spent a lot of quality time with some mascots today. It was a lot of fun. The mascots are always the absolute best.
Always great. Yeah. Okay. So I want to play a little game with you. But before I do, is there anything else from Media Day 1 that we missed that you want to throw out there that you think people might gobble up? Anything?
I think the biggest thing I'm taking away from this, from a Big 12 perspective, and then specifically from a TCU perspective, is nobody is sitting back and waiting for something to happen. This organization is being incredibly proactive, and TCU is showing great alignment from top to bottom, and making sure that TCU and the Big 12 conference don't get left behind. And so, from that perspective, I think it should be really encouraging to fans of college football, to fans of Big 12 football teams, and of course the TCU fans, that if there is something to be done, Brett Yormark, Jeremiah Donati, Daniel Pollard, Vivo are all looking for ways to get it done. And so I do appreciate that. And the alignment from top to bottom across this league is really, really solid.
Awesome. Okay, so this game is called Guess the Quotes. All right.
Okay.
I found some quotes from past media days and past just quotes that I ran across. This was actually much harder to try and compile than I thought it was going to be. So I've only got like 3. But I'm going to read you a quote, and I want to see if you can tell me the Big 12 coach who in the past said this thing. Maybe that's too big of an ask. I mean, if you want me to like narrow it down to okay, these are quotes from these 3 people, see if you can match them. But here we go. We'll start out with this one. That's a good question. That's an intelligent question. It's a sensible question, but I am not a sensible man. Who said
God.
It at a past media day?
That sounds like Mike Gundy or Dana Holgerson would be my 2 guesses.
Well, you're not far off. I mean, it's from the same tree as Dana Holgerson.
Oh, is that a Mike Leach quote from way back in the day?
It's not Mike Leach. I didn't find any. I should have looked for Mike Leach quotes. This is an Art Briles quote from 2013.
Gross. Well, I would
yes.
on purpose, so.
Which, like, now in hindsight is like, ew.
Should have told us something, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, maybe we should have paid attention.
Let him tell on himself.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this is not from Media Days, but I ran across this again. I'm like, oh, this is too wonderful. Okay, so in taxes, do you do short form or do you do deductions? I can promise you, there's nobody in this room that does short form. That's what I'm talking about in recruiting. Who said this?
Oh my God! Wow, that's a tough one, because I'm trying to think of who's one of the more intellectual guys, a guy who would know anything about taxes that's come through this conference. It feels like Dave Aranda, but it would have had something religious worked into it as well. So I'm stumped. Give me a university or a year, and I'll figure this out.
Well, if I give you the university, I'm giving you the answer.
Okay.
But it's a Texas university. It's a Texas university.
It's a Texas university.
And a coach that is no longer at the school.
Is that a Tom Herman quote?
No, it's not a Tom Herman quote. It's a Gary Patterson quote.
That's a Gary. No, he didn't. It would have talked about girlfriends, not taxes. Come on.
Yeah, no. So he's and he goes on to, because so he's talking to the TCU's NIL collective and being like, I need more money because SEC schools are trying to steal my players. And he's like, I'm going to lose my entire recruiting class. And he starts talking about everyone says I don't want to get dirty, but you got to get dirty. I almost
that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, that sounds like Gary.
Yeah. But yes, there was no girlfriends thing, so I thought that might throw you off a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So from a personal standpoint, I couldn't be any more proud of who we are and the direction that we're going. But it has changed considerably. Just like walking in right now, I felt like Britney Spears walking in here with all the cameras and pictures.
Wow. Brent Venables?
You're giving such great guesses, of niche coaches. No, it's not Brett Venables.
What state? Give me a state.
It is from Oklahoma. It is from Oklahoma.
It is from. Is that Mike Gundy?
Yeah, that is Gundy. Yes, that is Gundy.
Okay, should have known. Should have known. Oh my goodness, that
Very
guy.
good. Well,
what
Melissa,
he is.
Yes, he's the gift that keeps on giving. Absolutely.
Isn't he though?
Absolutely love that dude. Melissa, thank you so much for hanging out for a little bit, for
of course.
taking time
Thanks
out of
for
your
having me
Vegas experience. Have you lost any money?
Oh yeah, I lost $100 immediately last night at the roulette table. So Caitlin Fox won 1,100 though. He's he got to win. So hopefully tonight will be a little bit better. But we know how Vegas goes. Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. House always wins. Well, tell the people where to find you. Tell the people where to follow you. Plug anything and everything that you want to plug, Melissa.
Give you a follow at The Coach Melissa, posting all kinds of great video clips from the interviews that we did today. We'll have stuff going all week. You can listen to us, Frogs Insider podcast, on the Dave Campbell's Republic of Football podcast network, wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, make sure you like and subscribe to our Instagram and YouTube channels as well, Frogs Insider.
Fantastic. Well, I'll let you go. I got to throw a sponsor message up here. Melissa, thank you so much again.
Thanks, Glenn.
Have a wonderful time out in Vegas.
Cool. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, so let me get this fired up for us. Many of y'all have seen this. It's a very important message, of course, from our fearless leader. Let me go ahead and grab it right now. Okay. SNHU.
What I do as a sports commentator. I have definitely been blessed. I enjoy my career. But I gotta say, if I could turn back time, I would learn the business side of sports management. How to manage people, how to manage projects, how to manage situations. And then there's also those times in which you feel stuck in a job, stuck in a career, just feeling that there's a dead end and wondering and waiting, when is that break gonna happen? Well, unfortunately, I got to tell you, that break is not coming unless you make it happen. Sports is your passion. You love it, you live it, you breathe it. Why not make your passion your career? Introducing Southern New Hampshire University, our sponsor. At SNHU, you will learn the business side of sports management principles, and how to gather and analyze data. This degree will help you prepare for a career as an athletic director, sports information director, marketing manager, and other exciting roles in the sports industry. You'll be able to tap into SNHU's network of graduates working in sports-related organizations. You'll also have the opportunity to take advantage of an internship or an experiential learning course within the field. Your courses are taught by faculty with real-world experience, so you'll have opportunities to connect with people in the industry. And when you graduate, SNHU will be right there to help you with your job search. SNHU is accredited, nonprofit, and has radically affordable tuition. SNHU was voted one of the country's most innovative universities by U.S. News and World Report. Just go to snhu.edu/VOCFB. The link's also in my description section down below to see if you qualify for SNHU's sports management program. You might be eligible for financial aid or have existing college credits that could fast-track your degree at SNHU. Click the link to get started. Your exciting sports management degree at SNHU awaits you. Do it now.
Sports management, baby. Check it out. Okay, well, thank you so much for making us a part of your Tuesday night here in the Biggest 12. It's me, Clint Foster. Hey, subscribe to the show. Hurry before it runs across the screen, all right? At Big 12 VOCFB. That is at Big 12 VOCFB. Make us a part of every Tuesday night and help us grow this show. Help us turn this into a thing. Please do drop a comment in the chat who you'd like to see me play whenever we stream EA College Football 25 next week, and who you'd like to see me rebuild in a dynasty mode. Again, I got 6 potential teams that I'm talking about that I'm tossing around. Okay, kind of leaning towards Army. I'm not sure why. It's kind of speaking to me. Okay, and also subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitter at Clint_Foster55 and at Clint Foster Comedy, respectively. Like I say, I'm editing another video. Maybe I'll have it done tonight by the time I go to sleep. Not holding my breath. Maybe tomorrow. But you're gonna be the first to know about it if you subscribe. So subscribe to all the things. Listen, I put the show together for you. All I'm asking for you to do is just like click a couple buttons and get some noties. All right, that's a small price to pay. I think you can do it. All right, I think you can handle that. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Okay, but all of you who have subscribed, oh, my precious, my darlings, love you. Okay, so that does it. We will have more Big 12 Media Day excitement tomorrow, which we will wrap up on our next show next week. Until then, love you guys. Have a great week. Be safe. Hope your team wins.